Welcome back again with our fifth part of the SBL paper, Planning and Decision Making, and our first topic today will be about analysis and decision-making techniques. Let us try to highlight some important points of this topic. Sources of finance. What are the main options for raising finance? Equity and debt are the favorite resources. Equity can be classified into internal, for example, cash retained and working capital, and equity by external, new and current share issue. Debt also as a resource can be classified into short, medium, and long-term debt. Now to evaluate and select the sources of finance, we can use SAF model. Suitability. Is it fit in with our finance purposes? Does it help overcome the current difficulties? Acceptability. The source of finance is accepted to shareholders and meet the company's objectives. Feasibility. Is it available or difficult to obtain? There are a lot of investment appraisal techniques or methods, for example the net present value NPV. Also, the IRR, which is a discount rate that provides a zero NPV. The return on capital employed ROCE and the payback period, which is the number of years required to recover the original cash investment. The three major financial management decisions are investment, financing, and dividend decision. Now, here you are some points to be focused on your exam scenario. After you clearly define the investment requirements of the business, also the alternative sources of finance, you will need to justify your decisions. For example, if to select or abandon competing investments or projects by applying suitable investment appraisal techniques. The following points can support in justifying your decision. For example, the project with positive NPV and with greater NPV will likely to be acceptable. Discuss if the project ROI positive, and if increased or decreased. Choose project with shorter and have more cumulative payback. And so on. Now, how could you deal with risk and uncertainty in the decision-making process? Risk is quantifiable but uncertainty is not. The scenario planning can be used in managing the uncertainty but cannot reduce it. Investments diversity could help reducing uncertainty. There are a lot of techniques to deal with risk. One of it is to calculate the expected values by attaching probabilities to the potential range of outcomes. It takes risk into account by considering the probability of each possible outcome. It is a long-term weighted average, therefore has little meaning for a one-off project. Decision trees technique force the decision maker to consider the logical sequence of events, then he should choose an action with the highest expected utility. It shows the different choices available and the outcomes of those choices. But it still suffers from the limitations of the expected value technique, also can be very non-robust. Some other common techniques that can help management make good decisions are the budgeting process and the variance analysis. This may include the rolling budgets, incremental budgeting, zero-based budgeting, etc. It can provide guidelines for decision-making and future planning. These techniques will be discussed in detail in another episode. What are the common techniques for assessing the financial implications of business strategies? Profitability ratios, efficiency ratios, liquidity ratios, gearing ratios, investor ratios. These techniques will be discussed in detail in another episode. Now it's time to read one of the most important articles related to our topic, Finance in Planning and Decision Making. It's Financial Analysis in Strategic Business Leader, SBL. I will leave the direct link on the comments. This article was written by a member of the Strategic Business Leader examining team. The article provides a good practicing on the exam scenario by explaining the approach you should take. The important points you should care about are: to focus on the important strategic and operational factors on your financial analysis, to ensure that your answer is sufficiently well balanced. Often most answers spend too long discussing financial issues and not covering non-financial issues. So, Consider both the financial and non-financial situation to demonstrate good professional skills. Take care, you will only gain credit for calculations if you discuss the results. So, avoid doing many calculations on which you do not comment. Organize your answer, the headings under which the results of your calculations will be analyzed. Presenting your answer in helpful way is important communication skills. Using the spreadsheet can help you carry out calculations quicker. However, you must complete your analysis in a Word response option, and each of your spreadsheet calculations is referenced and analyzed within your Word answer. Again, you should discuss and explain the significance of your results, also to provide insight into the figures, for example, the reasons for the results of the calculations. Why have the figures changed? Are the changes consistent with the results of other calculations? The implications and consequences of the results. What will happen if performance continues to worsen or even improve in certain areas? Therefore, to consider the recommendations for actions that need to be taken. Finally, the article looks at extracts from the answer to question 1b to the published exam for September 2020. We will discuss it in the next video. The current slide is a summary of the most important points that should be taken into account, according to what we have previously discussed in the article. Now, would you like a PDF copy of this video? So, you can read and print it. Just hit like for this video and write your email on the comments. I will try to send you a soft copy. For more discussion on this topic and other topics, please visit my LinkedIn page. Goodbye.